Hello, everyone. Welcome to the latest Power Up series from Top Step for SuiteProjects Pro. I'm Ron Bros, CEO. Thanks for joining. Our topic for this Power Up is tips and tricks for custom calculations. Custom calculations are an important part of effective reporting in SuiteProjects Pro. Often our clients are trying to use standard reports values, which can be limited in order to get that customized report output. By using custom calcs and using constants and filters, you can create brand new values for reports. In addition for creating these brand new custom calculation values, you can also rename standard report values to adopt your company's terminology and assist users in getting more value out of the reports. Let's take a look. So in order to be able to create custom calculations, you have to have the right role permissions. Typically, we see this as an admin that is controlling the reporting as well as controlling these custom calculations. And as part of our implementation or working with TopStep, we will work with you to make sure that you can get the reporting values you need, whether those be standard values or custom calculations. In order to access custom calculations, you have to go to Administration and then Reports. And here you'll have a list of different options. If you click on Custom Calculations. Okay, it'll bring you to a list of custom calcs. So we're going to go ahead and see what are the main components of a custom calculation. So let's create a new one. This is one of the most important steps, is creating the right type of custom calc, because it's only going to show up in the reports that match the same template. So we often tell our customers is where you can always use an account-wide company summary report. This gives you the most flexibility in reports. And also you can then use the same template to create your custom calculation. However, if you run into a report need that does not allow, that you cannot get using custom company-wide, account-wide, and you need to create a different type of report template, if you need a custom calc, you'll need to make sure that you create the custom calc in the same template. But let's start with our company-wide, account-wide custom calc. Okay, so what are we doing here? So we're taking multiple values and applying them against each other. So if I wanted to create a report that says, show me, let's do time. That one's the most common. So let's say time all hours. And I wanted to be able to add that with expenses or be able to create a value for billable time only. So there's no out of the box for billable time. You have to create that value because everyone can define billable time differently. Usually there's task type, time type, or other values you can use, invoice charges. So you would basically want to say, okay, I have timesheet hours, and we want to say times. And here where constants can become very, very critical in creating timesheet values or custom values. So here there's a constant called 1 time entry, and I'm going to show you what's critical about a constant. But basically what this says is timesheet hours times 1. Now it's going to create me a new value. We'll call this billable hours. And I want this value to show up. If I do not check this box, it's going to prepend this custom calc with timesheets dash billable hours, which may be fine. It will organize it in your timesheet lists within the report. But maybe I want to go ahead and get rid of the prepend and just call it billable hours. So I'm going to go ahead and check this box. Now I need to come in and I can select how do I want to filter by to create this billable value. Maybe I want to go in and say billable is not at task level. We would have maybe the non-billable task. If non-billable is no, then it's considered billable hours. So that is an option as well. You can do task type, you can do time type. There's a lot of different ways you can use. So these filters are critical components to creating a custom calculation that you can then include in reports. There are also date filters as well. And by the way, if you don't see these filters, then there's some settings missing in your account. You'll need to contact support. But date filters can also be important if you're creating custom calculations based on dollars or hours, and you want to be able to limit the timeline of this custom calc, but not limit the entire report dates. So that's another way to be able to use filters to be able to create these custom calcs. Once you create the value, then it becomes available in report, and we'll show that in a moment. What if I want to update this constant? So just today, I was working with a customer who said they want to be able to do, they have time and a half time that they use, and they use type to identify time and a half. And they want to be able to uh, not only bill time and a half, which they can do using billing rules, but they want to upload the cost for time and a half time type so that we get the right cost. So what we did was we went in and we created a custom detail constant. So by doing so, I came into custom calculations and come in here and do a custom detail field. And this custom detail field allows me to create a time entry, custom detail field. I could say this is a constant, which is the typical. There are some other options in here you can play with, but constant's the one we see the most common. I can call this a constant based on time for 1.5. And then I put in my constant. And then we typically would always recommend this being a ratio because you're going to be applying this constant against the value of cost to be able to upload cost when time type equals over time. And so by creating this constant here, then we can create the custom calculation by doing custom. Let's go back to our reports. Martin, clean this up, please. This is doing this. We're going to go back to our custom calculations and say create new. And we're going to do again a company wide. And we'll come in here and we'll find timesheet costs. So I want to use all actual costs and then times, or you could use divided by. Here's my constant of 1.5, and I could call this overtime costs, 0.5. And here I might want to limit this by time type or by other values. I don't have a time type in here, but then once you create this, now it becomes visible. And then the other thing you can do with constants, with calculations, is you can add two calculations together. So we could add a double time one as well, and then we just add them together plus a standard time. And now we come up with a universal cost value that takes into impact overtime, double time, as well as standard time. So an example of a real world scenario that we just went through with a customer today to get them the reporting they need. Speaking of reporting, if I come in here again and go into renamed built-in fields, this is where you can rename a field. So for example, if you wanted to rename Let's take a look at this one. Basically, under project, you select the project, you can select the value you want to rename, and then you can do the rename. So then it doesn't show up necessarily inside the project anywhere, but in reports now you can rename standard fields to be able to have those a little more user friendly if your users are used to, instead of work in progress WIP in this example. So another, again, a handy option under the reports, under the custom calculations. In the reports, you can look down here and see these where there's a little formula field in front of these values. It'll tell you these are custom calculations. Here's a billable hours custom calc that we use. So we can now bring in all hours as well as billable hours and put those side by side in reports. If you were trying to do this in a report without a custom calc, you would have to filter by billable, but you would then filter out all, or you wouldn't be able to get this. So again, having the custom calc have its own set of filters allows you to not need a filter on the report to get you the value you need. So that is really just a high level overview of custom calculations and their effectiveness. If you want to know more or need help, we're happy to help. Please contact TopStep. Thanks again for joining today. Again, I'm Ron, CEO of TopStep. We appreciate you joining our Power Up series. If you want to know more about us, feel free to find us on LinkedIn or find our website, where you'll be able to find more Power Ups similar to this one today. Thanks again.